By the end of this talk, we're going to talk about how to craft a bio for 2020 so you can both be found and instill trust. We're going to talk about what 5 highlights you need to create a funnel for converting clients, and the key Instagram feature that makes sure you're starting conversations with people and bringing new traffic to your page, and exactly how to use it, because I think people know to use it but don't use it because they don't know how to use it. All right, so we have a lot to talk about, and I'm going to start by talking about your Instagram bio. Now, this might be a little bit awkward, but in order to really walk you through exactly how everything works, I need to make sure that we walk through the mistakes you're making first, okay? Now, a couple of ground rules. I'm going to take questions at the very end, so I'm actually not even looking at the chat right now. There is going to be opportunity at the end for you to ask a question. What I would prefer is if you actually raise your hand, and I can call you guys one by one at the end, and if your question gets answered through the call, you can put your hand down, right? I think that's going to be the best way to do it, because that way I can actually talk to you instead of try to read your messages and guess what you're trying to say. You know what I mean? The second part is I'd like you to actually open up your phone right now and screenshot what your Instagram page looks like right now, because I really want you to have a before and after. By the end of this talk, and already you're going to see in the homework assignments that I gave you, you've already started doing the work. Like, I've tricked you into doing the work. So this is actually going to be pretty easy for you to implement. And by the end of this conversation, or by the end of the day at minimum, you're going to have a new page, right? No, not by the end of the day, and I'll explain why, but you're going to have a very new page in the next few hours, and I want you to see a before and after, right? The third part, I've got to be very honest with you. I need to do some of this work too. A lot of this is very new to 2020. So in the same way that I'm going to be giving you things to do this week, I want you to know I'm doing them with you, all right? So just like you, I'm a very busy person, which means I'm also trying to give you things that are easily implementable, that are giving you enough structure to actually get them done, because I know I have to follow through on my promises, and I'm going to get them done too. So I really want you to know that with everything I do, I value your time. And I would never tell you to do something if I didn't think it was important. So you're going to see a couple things in here, and I might even point them out and say, you see what I'm doing really bad here? I need to fix this too. So I really want to be honest about that. And I don't want you to be looking at my feed and be like, wait a second, she told us to do this, but she's not doing it. That's because I've got work to do too, because what we're talking about is 2020 information. 2019 is so forever ago, okay? We're moving forward, and their algorithms change, and we're changing with them. Okay. Let's dive in. Mistakes that you are making with your bio. First things first, this is called a headline, all right? It is one of the most weighted parts of your Instagram bio, because Instagram, starting in 2019, is only becoming a stronger search engine in 2020. But starting in 2019, Instagram has turned into a search engine, much like YouTube, in fact. People can now search health coach, business coach, social media coach, whatever it might be, in the search engine on Instagram. And Instagram is looking for the content that you have in your bio to determine whether or not you will appear, right? This line, this is called the headline again, these are where the most heavily weighted keywords are, right? So here, when people have their name there, how are people who don't know you going to know to search your name? They're not, especially if your handle has your name in it. This is where the mistake gets even bigger. It is wasting your time to have your handle Sophia Para and then your headline also Sophia Para. Your headline's also searchable, right? So if someone does know your name and they search Sophia Para, right? If your handle is Sophia Para and this part says social media for coaches, you can still come up because your handle is Sophia Para. However, if your handle is Sophia Para and your headline is Sophia Para and you have nothing in here about social media for coaches, if someone were to search social media for coaches, it is not possible for you to come up because you do not have that content as your keyword. I'm going to get more in depth with this in a minute, but I just am painting mistakes right now. Mistake number 2. If your bio sounds too much like a dating profile, it is not working for you. To be completely honest with you, and this is going to be contradictory, you're going to be like, wait a second. everyone is telling me that I need to be personable in my bio. It's not that they're confused. They are using old information because we now have Instagram highlights. They are an extension of your bio. And no one's using them that way, but that's what they're supposed to be used for. So I'm going to give you, as you know, a structure for highlights as well in this call. But the personal side of things are not for your bio anymore. And let me also be clear, it's not that if you had it in there, it's going to hurt you. However, it's your last priority. So if you only have 150 characters in your bio, which is true, you have 150 characters, you should only have something about your dog or the coffee you like if you have room, right? Because other things need to go there first. And that's what we're going to talk about today. So the mistake number 2, if your bio is like, oh my God, I love long walks on the beach. Here's my dog, like Schnooker. I don't know where I got that name from. Snooker, he's a schnauzer, #schnauzer love. Like, we're already losing way too many characters as a business. Like, we need to talk about the results you provide, the value you provide, like who you're helping. So we don't have room for that. Take out the fluffy language. Mistake number 3, your language is confusing and not the language your ideal client would use. This is, and again, I'm going to get into more specifics in a second to tell you exactly what to say, but this is particularly around I coach women to be empowered, or like, I help you live your best life. I'm sorry, but I don't know what that means. What does my best life look like? For me, it's way too vague. I need to read your bio and understand, oh, that's the result she's giving me. I've been asking for Christmas for that for years. I've been asking to lose weight for years. Like, she's going to help me lose 50 pounds. Oh my goodness. Like, we need to be specific. And I'm going to tell you why, and a formula for this in a minute, but I just want to paint a picture. I help women get empowered. I help you live your best life. It sounds specific in your head, and I get why. Like, I used to say, I help people be good at social media. Like, come on, like, that's not specific enough. People are asking for specific results. That's what I need to speak to. Again, formula coming, but that's a mistake. Mistake number 4, you put too many links in your bio. This isn't good for a couple of different reasons. Many of you know that I actually use and love and recommend something called Linktree. And if you're not familiar with what Linktree is, if you Google LINK link tr.ee, and if you need me to type that out, let me know at the end of the call and I will do that for you. But Linktree is an app where you can put more than one link in your bio. It's fantastic, right? I mean, you can have your lead opt-in, your website, and even like maybe testimonials, whatever it might be, in your Linktree, so that at any point people can pick and choose the information that they want. However, what I'm seeing people do is they're putting like 10 to 15 links in their Linktree, which means me as a consumer is getting confused. I'm like, wait a second. What link did I come up here for? I can't remember what I was looking for. She told me to go to the link in my bio to download something. Gosh, there's so many free things here. I can't remember. You know what? I don't have time. I'm going to come back later. You see what I'm saying? People get tripped up. They have analysis paralysis. We need to make it super, super clear. So with this in mind, rule of thumb, when promoting something, don't use Linktree. Use the link to the thing that you want people to go to. One link only. When you are not promoting something, I'm totally cool with Linktree. You'll see I use Linktree as well. I'm not using it at the moment, but I do use it normally. I never have more than 3 links in my Linktree, which means I have to manage it. I have to swap things out on occasion. And that is, I would rather be putting energy into that than getting people confused. To be super specific about what links, where you're driving traffic to. This is about showing up with intention, and really makes a difference. Mistake number 5. Oh gosh, you're too modest. Like, I have been speaking to a lot of coaches around the results they provide and who they help. And I'm just like sitting here like, wow, that's fantastic. I'm like, let's put that in your bio. And then they get a little bit nervous, like, oh, I don't know. Isn't it just too braggadocious? That's a new word for me. One of my clients uses that word and I just love it. She's like, isn't that just too braggadocious? And for me, it's not about bragging. It's about being clear. It's about being clear about what you provide and what people need. Okay, so that's another mistake. People are not being specific about the results that they provide because they're worried they're going to come off like they're bragging. I have a formula for this in a bit, so stay tuned. Put a pin in this for a second. Mistake number 6, you either don't have a call to action or you use vague language. And vague language is the freebies. Hey, tap here for freebies. Go to my link for free stuff. Just FYI, I had made this mistake a lot, okay? Because at the time when I was doing that, I don't know that, like, not everyone had kind of figured out to put their free lead magnet in their bio yet. They were just sending people to their website. So for me, I was like, so free stuff landed for people a little bit. They're like, oh, I like free stuff, right? I'm gonna click to that. What's in there, right? However, now does not work because everyone and their dog is sending people to some free thing because they want them on their email list. It's 100% needed. You need a call to action, right? It's a non-negotiable. However, the language you're using with your call to action is extremely important and needs to be speaking to some curiosity. It needs to get people interested in what you have to say, and it also needs to demonstrate your value. I have some really good and specific examples for you in a little bit when we start talking about the formula of your bio. So stay tuned on that. But I do want you to start thinking, am I using vague language in my CTA, my call to action? Am I directing people to freebies and free stuff instead of telling them exactly what is wrong and pointing them to the link so I can fix it for them? Okay. All right. Here is the formula for a coach bio formula. If anyone has a better name for coach bio formula, I used to have bomb biz bio, but that was just too millennial, and yeah, it just didn't work. So anything else is greatly appreciated. So the first part of a coach bio formula is a Google, I can't read what I wrote here. My thing is not working, but my Googleable headline is essentially what I say it, right? The second part is your clear help statement. Your third part is your confident credibility. And your fourth part is your curious CTA. These are the 4 parts of a coach bio formula, and they are non-negotiables. Notice I do not have what type of coffee you drink. I used to have something personal here. I have taken it out intentionally in 2020, and there's a very, very important reason as to why, and I'm going to share that in a little bit. But I just want you to see, I have not forgotten that, because I know everyone and their dog is telling you to do that. I haven't forgotten the personal stuff. It's just, this is not where it goes anymore, okay? So we're going to talk about that in a second. All right, so let's start. Google-friendly headline. Now I remember, because I was like, Googleable. No one's going to remember that. Google-friendly headline. That's what I changed it to. Okay, so your Google-friendly headline. Again, this is that bolded piece of writing right above the normal bio, right? And for me, it's social media for coaches. The best way to figure out what to put here is just to consider, what is your audience Googling, or what would they Google if they were to find you, right? And to be as specific as you possibly can, but there are limited characters here. I think it's 50 characters, although it might be 30. They've changed it since a couple years ago, so I can't quite remember what it is now. But there are limited characters here, so you might have to play around with a couple of things. Here's how I figured out what goes here for me. I literally, I'm just gonna quickly check the chat and make sure everyone can hear me. Oh, okay, thank you, Michelle. She says it's 30. Yay, Michelle. And Judy, yes, Linktree is amazing. It's not that I hate Linktree. I actually love it, and I recommend it to everyone. It's just about being specific about how many links are in there. Okay. Sorry, I said I would ignore my chat, and I lied. But I'm not going to go back anymore. I just want to make sure you guys can hear me, okay? So your Google-friendly headline, right? How I figured this out for myself is I literally asked on my intake form, when people sign up for a call with me, and when people sign up for pretty much anything, even if it's something free, there's often an email or something that they get from you, maybe just a DM that says, hey, like, how did you hear about me? And if they say, oh, I Googled you, I say, oh, how fun. Don't you love it when Google works for you? What did you Google to find me? Social media for coaches is the answer 100% of the time in the last 6 months. The 6 months before that, it was something different, which is why it used to be something different. Then the last 6 months, it has been social media for coaches. So I have changed my headline to social media for coaches. And I love it because it is so clear. It shares my target audience. And I have been getting a lot of feedback around people finding me because they're searching for social media for coaches. So it is analytic approved, and it's something I highly recommend that you do. So that's step one. How would people Google you? That's what goes in your headline. All right. Step two. Oh no, just kidding. We're not at step two. We're talking about examples now. So like I said, I used to have something different. That was Sophia, social media expert. Apparently, people were looking more vaguely for social media people before. So they just needed social media experts. But I have noticed people are getting more clever, and they're really wanting people to help with their specific audience now. So now people are Googling not just social media for fill in the blank of whoever they are. Now they're used to be looking for just social media experts, and now they're getting specific as to who they are as a target audience, right? So for me, this is what my old one was, and it did work fine for me. But again, I am making decisions based off of feedback that I'm constantly asking for. And you're going to notice as we go through this is important to me and needs to be important to you too, right? So mine used to be Sophia, social media expert. I changed it to social media for coaches. I had a client, actually, she's a What the Heck with Host member. I'm not sure if she's on here at the moment or she's watching the replay, but she's a financial coach for actors. That's what I would change unless she's getting different feedback for people. Financial coach for actors, business coach, 7-figure businesses. Now that we know that this is 30 characters, this is probably too long, but you can fix it or play around with it with like emojis and things like that. But 7-figure businesses, if that's who you want to target, you can play with how you can fit that into your headline. Business coach for health coaches, coach for spiritual entrepreneurs, right? Just an example of what people would Google. Once you know what people would Google, you can play around with it. Like I used to have social media with the letter for coaches because for some reason I couldn't fit FOR. Now I can. So I have played around with it. The most important part are the key words. And if you know how Google works, the it's, the thes, the fors, they don't count. Those aren't keywords. The keywords are the more media, like the social media and coach are the keywords. So you can play with these things a little bit. So that's how you decide your headline, all right? The second part, clear help statement. Who do you help and what do you help them achieve? This must be pain point specific. I understand you do a whole lot more than what is included in this bio, okay? So do I, right? But what gets people through the door? What is the first thing people ask for, right? And you know that saying, give them what they want so you can give them what they need? That might apply here, right? Like for example, I don't do this anymore because I really want to stay away from this messaging, but there was a point, it's actually still happening, but there was a point where everyone wanted growth. I want a bigger following. I want 10,000 followers. I want to have the swipe up. I want to, if I don't have 1 million followers, I could never do this, right? They had so many stories around followers, right? So I used to have something, my I help statement is I help you grow your audience to 10,000 and above so you can, I can't remember what the rest of my sentence was. But I use that pain point knowing that once they got in the door, I'm going to be like, let's talk real here. Your followers don't matter if you're not doing this. So let's talk about this, right? What gets them through the door so you can give them the information that they actually need. That might be something you have to consider here if you're feeling stumped around what to put here. It is what's getting people to call you, to need you, to ask for help. I really want you to think about that here. So what's your biggest pain point? Here's the formula. I help insert your dream client achieve, insert their desired results. This is actually what was in the homework. So you already have this I help statement. You already have it written. And you know what? I would go to your bio right now and I'd pop it in there. Let's get started, right? I help insert dream clients achieve, insert desired results. Now, while crafting this, it is really important that you consider the language of your audience. And I'm going to walk you through some examples of this, a lot of examples of this. So I really want you to feel crystal clear on this. So I have a friend, her name is Haley, and she helps entrepreneurs scale her business, right? Her whole thing is recurring profits and just making sure that people are scaling in a way that's not taking over their lives. According to her audience, Her biggest complaint is they want to create consistent 10K months, but they feel discouraged by complicated funnels. If there's a complicated funnel, they shut down because the tech is stressing them out and they don't know what the heck to do, right? So her bio turned to, I help entrepreneurs create consistent income with a sales machine that doesn't involve complicated funnels. Do you see what she did there? There's a key pain point that her audience continuously speaks to her about, and she spoke to it in the first line of her bio. It's the very first thing that they see. Already they're like, whoa, that is what I want, right? What we're doing is here is we're speaking to people's hearts instead of people's heads, right? If I just want to remind you earlier, I jokingly and lovingly made fun of the coaches that say, I'm here to empower you. There's a very big difference between that language and this language. I think you would agree, right? Right now we are getting very specific. I know what the heck you're talking about. I know what the heck you're promising to me, or you're telling me that I'm going to be working towards. And I know in my heart, this is all I've been wanting. So for me, you're speaking to my heart, and I'm interested right away. I'm going to read your next line, right? Let's use another example. Angie consistently hears from her clients that they suck at selling, but they want to grow their business. They keep saying things like, oh my God, I want to grow my business so bad. It's all I think about, but I just suck at selling. I just don't think this is for me. Like, they keep saying that to her, right? So hers is, I help women stop sucking at sales so they can confidently grow their business. Whoa. Are you in my head right now, Angie? Like, that's what I'm feeling right now, right? Another example. Caroline wants to work with burnt out coaches who are following a purpose. I underlined once because a big objective I hear here is, oh, Sophia, I'm getting so specific here. I feel like I'm going to rule out a massive part of my audience, right? Or I feel like I'm going to rule out a massive amount of people that I can help. I really want you to not think like that. Actually, the more specific you get, the more likely it is that people are going to reach out to you, because you're speaking so much more strongly to them than another person. In fact, I'm going to use myself as an example because it's just happened, right? I was on a call with someone, and she's a coach, obviously, and she was deciding between me and someone else, and she was very honest about that, and I was like, oh yeah, no problem, like, do what you got to do. And I was just like, can I ask, like, what's the holdup? Like, why, where are you feeling you're not so sure? And she's like, well, skills wise, I feel like both of you are very lined up, very in line. She was a Spanish speaker. She's like, I really like how the other girl can speak Spanish. However, you work specifically with coaches, so I kind of feel like you might know more about my industry than her. And I was like, bam, bam, thank you, ma'am. Is that a saying, or did I just make that up? Because I feel like that needs to go on a shirt. So bam, bam, thank you, ma'am. I was like, that is why I have made myself a social media coach, or social media for coaches, right? Because credibility is something that we're trying to communicate here, is already so much higher than if I'm just a random social media expert. No, I'm a social media expert for you. You reading this, I know your industry better than the other social media coach because I am studying you. Now, another important point, does this mean people don't reach out to me? Nope. Because I have been, in my specificity, I'm so clear about the results I know coaches are asking me for, that the other people who are not in that target market but want those results too are like, gosh, I know that you work with coaches, but I really want that result too. Are you open to speaking to a different industry? I have like a modeling agency on my roster. Okay. They found me off of Instagram, and they asked me that question in their bio, right? They are nowhere near a coach, right? So it doesn't take you out of the running. It just means your language is being so specific that you're speaking to the heart. You're not speaking to the head. You're so much more effective in your bio. Here's another example. Oh, shoot. So what I was saying, so the reason I underlined once is because I want you to consider, let me see, can I go to the last slide? I can. Sorry, back here. So the reason I was saying that I underlined once is because people are feeling nervous about eliminating parts of the industry. So what I told Caroline was, Caroline, stop thinking about that. If we were to stop thinking about that and just ask you, who do you want to work with? Who would it be? And she was like, I want to work with purpose-driven coaches. Like I want to work with people who woke up and feel like I was born to do this, not like, oh, coaching is a really popular industry right now. That's what I should get into to make money. She's like, I really want to make that difference. So we changed her whole bio. We stopped talking about coaches in general. And we're like, I help purpose-driven coaches break 6 figures while working no more than 35 hours a week. Because you know what? That was the other part of her pain point. Everyone is burnt out, and she wanted to speak to that. All right. Emilio is a business coach for health coaches, and he says the biggest complaint he hears is that running their business has meant they sacrifice their own health. So he turned his bio into, I help health coaches scale their business so they can help more people without sacrificing their own health. Imagine if you're a burnt out coach and you read that. Suddenly you're like, whoa, that's what I need. Like, I'm so unhealthy right now. And I think it's because I'm sitting on my butt, not doing anything, not working out, not moving my body. And I'm a health coach. I feel so embarrassed by this. If that's a pain point for you, you're going to read that and you're like, he knows me. All right. That's what we want people to feel, that you know them enough that you're the answer to their prayers. And then this is my favorite one. I give this example to everyone I speak to, but I had a client named Jen. She focused on new moms, and her thing she always heard was mothers who were always like, gosh, if I could only just like look good in my skinny jeans again. They're like, my body is just not what it used to be anymore. And I can't wear my skinny jeans and I just don't feel like myself. So she turned her bio into, I help new moms get back into their skinny jeans so they can feel like themselves again. I hope this is getting clear. I hope, because this is probably the most important statement on your page at the moment. So I really hope that we're getting clear around how specific you need to be, and that you should be covering who you're speaking to and what you're providing. All right. The next part is confident credibility. And I'm going to give you a couple of examples of what this means. Usually, for me, I have creator of what the heck to post, because that's what I'm pushing in 2020. That is my baby in 2020. I'm standing behind it. I've kind of been quiet about what the heck to post in 2019. Right now, I think the fact that I've created a membership centered around the algorithm and content gives me credibility, and I want that out in the world. So that is the credibility that I chose for myself. However, for most people, I actually think this is a perfect place to talk about magazines you've been featured in, or blogs you've been featured in, or podcasts you've spoken on. There's a whole bunch of places that you can speak to, so that you can offer credibility, right? In fact, here's some examples. You have a podcast. That in itself offers credibility. The fact that you're showing up for an hour a week or whatever it might be, speaking on this topic, that gives you credibility. Have you been featured somewhere? Like I just said, have you created a course or membership like what I did? Are you an annual speaker at an event? Do you have an event? Have you helped over 1,000 women lose weight? Like, I have a coach that sold her online course. She hasn't been featured anywhere, but she sold this online course like 4 years in a row, and she added how many people have bought it, and it added to 1,000 women. So that was a cool way to show credibility. Now, I can already hear some of you thinking, oh gosh, like I'm just starting, like I don't have that kind of credibility, right? Or, oh gosh, like I don't have anything to say here. There's a couple of things that I did when I first started, right? The first thing was I worked for a couple of people for free with the intention of being specific about what I can provide, right? Like, so back in the day when growth on Instagram was way easier than it is today, I hired, my gosh, I asked to work with a couple of people with the intention of growing their feed, right? So I was like, all right, let's see how many people we can grow in a month, right? We ended up doubling their following in 30 days. So my credibility for that line was clients currently doubling, what did I say? Clients currently doubling their following in 30 days, right? Something like that. I'm sure it wasn't. But the idea here was that I spoke to a pain point people were suffering with, and the results that I'm seeing. And because I didn't have credibility at the time, I was brand new, I asked if people would be willing to, for me to work for them for free, to see what I could do in 30 days. And if I could get a testimonial from them. The testimonials came back with that being a key thing that they felt like I achieved for them. So I put it in the bio, right? So there's a couple of things you can do to create that line for you right now. So I don't want you to get discouraged. The second thing I want you to think about is part of what we're doing here on social media is so that you can get featured in podcasts and things like that. Like, let's face it, I don't know about you, but whenever I get pitched a podcast episode, or whenever someone just asked me to do a summit, and I just did the summit, and then someone else asked me to do a podcast, the first question they said was, great, like, can you send me your Instagram feed? They're not asking you because of how many followers you have necessarily. They're asking you because of what type of content you're creating and what messaging you're putting out there. And they're just making sure it aligns with them, right? So for me, part of what we're doing here and what the heck to post is to create more of these opportunities for you. So again, don't feel discouraged if you feel like you have nothing to say here. There are a couple of things you can do to kind of to add that line for you in your bio. But communicating credibility is very important for your bio in 2020. Finally, the last part, a curious CTA, right? Now, I'm sorry, this was the lamest name ever. I could not think of another name. I was like, it sounds like I'm talking about Curious George or something, but I just couldn't get better than this. So a curious CTA. So CTA stands for call to action, for those of you who are not familiar. And a call to action is basically what's the next step you want people to take when they land on your Instagram bio, right? It's usually, in fact, it's probably always the sentence that tells people to click on the link below, right? And what I tell my clients to do is have your lead magnet in your link tree, or if that's what you're pushing at the moment because you're promoting something, like maybe it's a 5-day challenge or something like that, and you want everyone to sign up to the 5-day challenge, whatever line goes here needs to pique enough interest for them to want to click the link. That's really what we're saying here, okay? Because what I'm seeing people do again and again and again is use the language freebies, free stuff, click here for more, click here to work with me. It's so vague. We have got to get specific about what is in that bio. I have not, this is just an example. I have not created this yet. I'm in the process of creating it yet, but I have a 60-minute webinar. It sounds so mean. I sound so mean, girl. But I have a 60-minute webinar about the algorithm that is going to be a new lead magnet for me, right? It's about, walking through how the algorithm works, why you're messing it all up. And it's kind of like tongue in cheek, right? But I know that people are like, I just feel like this algorithm thing, like, I don't know how to figure it out. Like, I just feel like the algorithm is against me. Like, I'm getting that language so much. So I was like, wouldn't it be kind of funny? And I'm going to test if this is clear enough and if it translates enough, but wouldn't it be funny if my CTA goes, why the algorithm doesn't like you, with an arrow pointing to my link where the webinar is going to be, right? And that what that does is gets people to read that and they're like, wait a second, oh my God, I knew the algorithm didn't like me. Like, what is happening here, right? To click the next step. Some other great examples are, probably even better examples because they're even more clear, are 3 mistakes you're making on social media with a link to the freebie, right? If you're a health coach or you're a weight loss coach, the big reason you can't lose weight, and then a link to your freebie, which is answering that question. 3 tips to fill your roster in 30 days, which is actually something a client has. She has a webinar where she shares how to fill your roster in 30 days. So a great one would be 3 tips to fill your roster in 30 days, and then an arrow pointing down to the link. Because of course, everyone's wanting to fill their roster in 30 days. Or 5-figure mindset shifts you must bust to get to 6 figures. If I'm sitting there being like, oh my God, I want 6 figures, that's going to be like hot for me, right? I'm going to want that. So the point of it is here, you need to be using specific enough language that you're creating the gap and you're showing what people don't know and telling them the link is going to fill the gap for them. That's what's going to get them to the next step. I don't need another freebie. All right, I have 1,000,010 freebies that I haven't even looked at, right? But if you're telling me that you can tell me the thing that has been like haunting me, I'm gonna click. I want to know the answer, right? That's what's gonna get people to take the next step. So the big mistake here is that your CTA, either you don't have a CTA or your language isn't piquing enough curiosity. And this is the type of thing you need to think about, right? So take a look at your lead magnet. And if you noticed, in your homework, I gave you a little section. I was like, what's your most popular lead magnet? Drop the link here, right? That was your homework assignment, right? The reason I picked that is because you do want to be driving traffic. Like you want to use that data, right? Your data is telling you this is the most popular lead magnet, which means it's very likely what people are craving, what people are wanting, what people are thinking, oh my gosh, hell yes, I need this, right? So that's what we need to craft this language around, right? People are already interested in it. What kind of language can we put here to really showcase it? So that is your homework assignment for creating a curious CTA. And again, if someone has a better name for that, so all ears. Like I keep thinking I'm going to say Curious George. All right, finally, make sure your profile picture is of your face. I see a lot of you with logos. I have seen a few of you with like your dog. I've seen a few of you like this. This would so be me if I knew better, where you're like this. You know what I mean? You do know what I mean. I hope that didn't look really weird. But you know where it's like your eyes are peeking over your mug? For me, it's like, I can't see you, right? I feel like we live in an era of catfishing. We live in an era where people say one thing on social media, but they're completely different. I think being very open with your face, like smiling, seeing the white of your eyes, not behind sunglasses, that really instills trust in my opinion, because people knowing what you look like, right, is half the battle online, right? People get a little creeped out about hiring people online because they feel like they don't know them, right? This is your first step in the door to someone. You need to show your face. So unless your logo is, you know, like globally known, put your face up there. P.S. You know how I said I had to make some changes? Mine needs changing. That profile picture, I love that picture of me, although it looks kind of like I'm screaming now that I look at it and crying instead of laughing, which is what I was going for. But I cannot use this because my eyes are closed, right? There's something about like people being able to look into your eyes. Like I know that's so maybe weird, but I do feel like that inspires trust. Okay, so let's recap here. So we have a profile picture with your face in it, eyes showing, no logo, sunglasses off, take your dog out of it. This is just about you, all right? This is a tiny little space. And I'm also gonna talk about, there's another reason this is so important. And that's gonna be, we'll talk about that when we get to the traffic side of this. Next, we have a headline, your social media for coaches. We've got a clear, Google-friendly headline. We have an I help statement. I help coaches build stronger communities so they can get more clients, right? Based on, and make sure you're using the language of your ideal client. I'm probably going to be changing this to speak as well. However, that is what people are asking for. You have some clear credibility and confident credibility. I'm the creator of What the Heck to Post, like stand tall on that. I have been featured on Forbes and Entrepreneur. I have helped women lose a total of 1,000 pounds. There's so many things you can put here. And I would bet if you're feeling a little bit like, oh, I don't have anything, think harder. You know, I don't believe you, to be completely honest. I'm going to tell you a story. I have a weight loss coach who, she was a brand new weight loss coach. However, she herself lost 120 pounds. And she did it in such a unique way. And her whole thing was she was going to teach people her unique way, right? So for her line of credibility was down 120 pounds and feeling amazing. And then her next call to CTA was the reason you're not losing weight and keeping it off, right? So if I know she's lost 120 pounds and in my brain, I'm like, she's figured something out that I can't. You know what I'm saying? So think really hard about that credibility, because I would imagine you do have something that you're just being modest, which is the one of mistake number, I think it was number 5, right? Let's not be modest here. And then finally, you have one link if you're promoting something, which I am, or if you're using Linktree, you have no more than 3 links option. Okay, I can already hear a bunch of you saying, Sophia, but where do I share my personality if it's not in my bio? Let me be honest here. And I'm gonna just update my notes here. Things are changing, as I mentioned to you before, right? Things are changing in 2020. And now we have your highlights are part of your bio. I don't think people are using it that way, but highlights are part of your bio. Your personality is presented so much more authentically in Instagram, in an Instagram story highlight than I can in your bio. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying you cannot put personality in your bio if you have room. It's just not a priority anymore because you have other avenues to do that, right? And if you're sitting here thinking, oh, shoot, I want to have highlights, but I don't know how to do that yet, that's what next week's for. So if you're feeling, oh my gosh, Instagram story highlights, how? Don't worry about that. We're going to do that next week, okay? So for me, yes, personality. All right, let's talk about that. There are 5 kinds of highlights I suggest that you use. Before I share them, let's talk about what a highlight is and why it's important. So the highlights are what's down here on your feed, right? It's the little buttons underneath your bio that basically are highlights of the Instagram stories that you share. And again, I'm going to walk you through how to create these next week. If you do have questions on that, please don't stress about it. All right. I really want you to just think about the structure of things and the purpose that it serves so you know why we're doing it next week. Okay. So your highlights are the little buttons that show up at the bottom of your bio, right? This is what really categorizes the content that you're sharing on your Instagram stories. Why is it important? Before highlights came out, people were spending an average of 27 minutes on the platform. Instagram stories have come out and they are now spending an average of 35 minutes on the highlight on Instagram and rising, okay? Instagram is not stupid. Instagram is smart, okay? They see that data and they're like, we are going to be prioritizing stories. So we have got to be creating content and creating avenues for people to absorb our stories, right? Highlights is an amazing way to do that. It's an amazing way to get people to know you. It's an amazing way to juice the algorithm to make sure it's giving the algorithm what they want. And also, if we're listening to data, if people are watching stories, like we have to follow that for our own brand as well. The real question becomes, what the heck do we say in our highlights, all right? The first highlight that you must share, and P.S., I'm gonna be sharing a video. I have never done this before, so I really hope this works. The first highlight that you must have is an intro highlight, right? Your intro highlight is something that I don't see a whole lot of people doing this, so this should be new information for you. An intro highlight is basically an introduction to who you are. I see this as an actual story, a beginning, a middle, and end. Imagine this is your episode 1 of your reality TV show. You're getting people to know who you are. You're getting people to meet your co-stars. For me, an intro highlight would be, I would take people along on my day with me, right? I'd be like, hey, like, I'm Sophia. I want to take you along my day. Like, I'm a social media coach for coaches. And my favorite part about what I do is the freedom that I have. And it's something that I want to help you do as well. Because I know social media is keeping you in your house and you're getting really frustrated around it. Something that I want to show you how to create more freedom in your life. Like that would be a message for me, right? So for me, what I might do is I might showcase myself waking up early in the morning. I might walk my dogs. I might take a photo of my barista who gives me my coffee every single morning. I would then introduce you guys to my dogs. I have a really grumpy dog and I have a really playful dog. I would then walk home. I'd take a photo of my computer working on something really exciting for you guys. Stay tuned. I would then maybe have a Zoom call with a client. I would take a picture with my Zoom client. I would have her wave at the camera and I'll be like, I'm helping so-and-so achieve this year. So I'm really instilling what I do for people. I would then maybe take them out to lunch with me. This is my favorite salad. I have it probably 5 times a week. I would really walk people through a story to get to know me. Because think about it. If your bio is all about results and what you do for people, the next question is, do I vibe with you? It gives them a really great idea as to whether or not they can vibe with you, right? So let's see what Christy did. All right. Christy took this and she killed it in my opinion. I think I'm going to put it on mute so that I can walk through what's happening. Okay. All right. So this is Christy's highlight, right? She wakes up at 4:17 every morning because that 17 is her lucky number. She made fun of herself. She took a photo of her hair. She's like, how's my hair look? Right. She jumps on her trampoline every single morning at 5 a.m. This woman's crazy, but I love her so much. She does this to get the energy flowing. She introduces us to her dog, which she watches the sunrise with every morning. She then picks up an affirmation at 7 a.m. every morning, which she reads over coffee. Here's her with her client who's just had a massive win this week, which really makes us feel like, ooh, I want to work with her. She's then making a joke about listening to podcasts in her showers every day. Dog needs a walk. Let's go on a walk, right, guys? And now we're out on a walk with Christy, right? She's sharing a message as to why she loves coaching coaches. This is something that is obviously optional, but she felt like it was important. And actually, it's a similar value to mine, freedom, right? She really wants to give people freedom. So she's talking about why freedom is important to her, and she's giving people a note of inspiration. If she can create that in her life, so can you, right? So now she's leading by example, and it's such a great way to get to know her. All right, we're almost done with the story. Let's fast forward a little bit. All right, then she's taking a screenshot, a picture of the lead magnet that she's creating right now. And finally, her day wraps up with her husband, who appears on her stories from time to time, right? Imagine that's a highlight on your feed. It took us 1 minute and 30 seconds to watch that. And now not only do I see what kind of results you provide, but I'm very familiar with the personality you have, and I'm already addicted to how fun you are, right? So it gives the opportunity to showcase your personality in a much more effective way than talking about what reality show you watch in your bio. Finally, results. This is extraordinarily important. And I think the biggest, and I'm going to let it play in the background while I talk because it's pretty much just screenshots of things. The biggest mistake people make with the results that they showcase on their highlight is that they make it all polished. They go to Canva, they create these pretty testimonial graphics, they hire a film crew to film people talking about how great they are. That's not what results are for. This is for us to create social proof. The best way to create social proof is by screenshotting what people are saying on Facebook groups, screenshotting what people are DMing to you, screenshotting the emails you get, or reposting the videos that people say about you on Instagram, right? Which is exactly what she does later on in the video, right? So you might be thinking like, oh my God, but I'm not getting that at the moment. This means there is not a process set up for you to do that, all right? And this is truthfully, like I said, I have work to do as well. I have not been the best at this process either, but normally what my process is, someone signs up for What the Heck to Post. In 30 days, I reach out to them in the DM and I say, hey, how are you liking What the Heck to Post? Like, how can I better serve you, right? Their response is either great feedback for me to make changes, or it's a rave and I'm super excited about it and it's a result for my highlight, right? Or I ask people, if people say, oh my gosh, this exciting thing happened, right? Thanks to What the Heck to Post. I might respond saying, oh, I love that idea. Can you shoot me a video so that I can share it? They'll either say yes or no, and we can have a conversation about that. But I have a process in place to collect these, right? So that is the secret here. This is not hard. It actually is going to take a lot less work than collecting testimonials if you have a process and a system in place, making sure you're collecting this at least once every 30 days. Have something in your calendar where you're like, okay, today I'm going to reach out to get this highlight. The next one is a start here highlight. This is another third negotiable. These first three, start here, intro, and results, you absolutely cannot have an Instagram feed without these in 2020. These are so, so, so important because they communicate your credibility. They share your personality. Like I said, it's not that it's not important. It's just that the bio isn't the best place to do it anymore. The highlight is. And finally, this is about growing your email list. The start here highlight, this is where you're going to be talking again about your lead magnet that is the most popular at the moment. So look at your analytics. Which lead magnet is getting downloaded the most, right? That's what goes in your start here highlight, okay? Now, I'm going to walk you through it because there's a couple things to think about here. What am I sharing with people? But also, what are the pain points that they're struggling with so that I can really speak to them, okay? So here's one that Dallas did. I love it. Start here. So Dallas, what would it mean for you to constantly have a wait list of ideal clients who want to work with you? I had them vote it. What if you could go from 0 to 9 clients in less than 30 days like Natalie did? Or have a wait list of 30 people begging to work with you like April did? Or finally free yourself from uncomfortable sales conversations and bring in 6 clients in 21 days like Randy. You see what I'm saying here? I'm speaking to the pain points that people have complained about that fix through this process. Here's a screenshot of something someone just said in my Facebook group. So now I'm creating social proof. I don't talk about this often, but this is how I've had a wait list for 10 days. And now she's talking about her own experience with this, right? meant I could officially stop having sales calls and create tons of leads easily, right? So now if you're listening to this, you're thinking, oh my gosh, those are all the pain points I have. And then she's saying, want to know how it works? Swipe up for the client magnet method, which again is a free opt-in. We're not selling here. This is a free opt-in to get people on your email list, right? So imagine if one of your highlights is start here and people are like, oh, okay, I'm going to start here. They click on it and you walk them through the pain points that they're experiencing so that they are like, of course I'm going to download this. You are speaking to my heart right now. That is why this is so important. It is about getting people to your email list. If you do not have 10K people and you do not and therefore you can't do the swipe up feature, it's okay. The last slide, in fact, I have a lot of clients that don't have 10,000 followers. And what they do at the end is we do one of two things. Either click the link in our bio, right? Or my favorite, comment, like DM me the word, let's say, freedom is the word in my brain right now because that's what hers is about. DM me the word freedom and I'll send it to you right now, or I'll send it to you in the next 24 hours, right? That, of course, then ups your engagement in your DM, which is good for the algorithm, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So again, start here highlight is about getting people to your email list. Intro highlight is about getting people to know you. And results highlight is about seeing proof about what you provide, because let's be real, people are relying on social media. We want to be standing out as someone you can trust. Right, so those are the three non-negotiables. These are the more optional ones. There's two optional ones. However, I do highly suggest them, but they don't have to be your priority, okay? This is called the give them what they want highlight. And the reason I consider this recommended is that how you decide what this is you're paying attention to what people are watching on your Instagram story and what they are engaging with most. You are gonna find when you start paying attention to this that there's a lot of overlaps, right? So for me, I'll use actually Alyssa as an example. Alyssa, when we looked back in her Instagram stories, we learned that people were engaging as in commenting DMing and asking questions and things like that the most when she was showing the fun side of herself. And what we noticed was in her content, we kind of present her quite seriously, right? We kind of put the professional side of her first and foremost because she deals with a lot of like CEOs and executives. But what was getting the most engagement was actually the fun stuff. So her give them what they want highlight was just a highlight called fun, right? And we shared all of her just fun videos that got a lot of engagement. And we just put them all, I'll just have this play while we're talking. And we just put them all in an easy highlight. People loved what we noticed was when she's hanging out with her husband, right? Or when she's like going to yoga class, making fun of things and just being goofy. So we did a highlight that just highlighted her personality as this just like fun, loving person, because she's so like that. She values fun so much, but her feed wasn't representing that because there was too many serious things for her to talk about, too many business-oriented things for her to talk about, that the fun side of her was kind of getting missed. So we listened to her analytics. People said that they liked her when she was fun, that they felt most engaged and interactive when she was fun. So we created a highlight with a collection of her most fun Instagram stories to feed the algorithm, because this is why Instagram rewards people who create content that keep them on the app longer. So if this is the type of content that is keeping people engaged, the algorithm will push your content further. So this highlight is about making sure we are speaking to the algorithm and creating content that people have said they want. We're not forgetting about the business stuff, but we are balancing it with the stuff that they want so that our business stuff can actually travel. That is why this is not mandatory, however, highly recommended, okay? All right, let's pause Alyssa. Oh, she's so cute. Our next highlight, the value highlight. This should be a no-brainer, right? Part of the 8 pieces of content, which I don't know if any of you have seen my algorithm talk, but one of the 8 pieces of content I highly suggest you share is value content. And it's something I prompt you to do and what the heck to post all the time. The value content is the content that shares tips or tricks or hacks that everyone's asking about. And this can change from time to time, right? So for example, I'm gonna change this because this is old. About a year ago, everyone was feeling stuck around Instagram bios. And I stopped talking about it for a year, and now I'm having this conversation again. So clearly this is a relevant topic, right? But everyone's having issues about Instagram bios, right? So I did a highlight called audits. And all I did, I'll just let it play in the background. All I did was compile a bunch of the audits that I've created for people and put them in a highlight, because I knew people were really finding value in this. And I want to put forward what people are talking about, what people are asking me questions about. That's what I want to create, right? I'm probably going to change this. I've just created a couple of other stories that I'm going to create a new highlight. One of them is about getting new subscribers on webinars. Another of them is about, growing your email list. There's new pain points that are discovered by me in any industry all the time. So my new highlight is going to be speaking to that. But the idea here is to listen to what people are asking for, create a highlight. It could be called biz tips. It could be called a number of different things. Create a highlight that answers those questions so that people right away, all of their questions are being answered just by reading their bio and looking at your highlights, right? So that is the value of the value highlight. And I'm going to stop that. Oh, and yes, and again, my point here, make this specific. Just really speak to something clear that people are really looking for and wanting for. Pay attention to what people are asking you for. All right, we're going to do another recap before we talk about the final part of this, and that's traffic. So recap, your profile picture is a picture of your face. Do not close your eyes like Sophia here. Do not put sunglasses on. Picture of your face. Let's instill trust. You have a Google-friendly headline. Social media for coaches. What are people Googling for? I help coaches build stronger communities so they can get more clients. We have a clear I help statement. Who are you helping and what are you helping them do? We have clear, confident credibility. What makes you their go-to coach? We have a curious CTA, a CTA that makes us feel, oh, I'm missing something and she knows what I'm missing and she can help me. We have, oh, I forgot to say, we have a link. We have one link, or we have a link tree with just 3 links in it. And finally, we have highlights. Now, a couple of things I'm doing wrong here. You see this Q&A Thursday where this is cut off. I like to save things as clearly as possible, and that's something that I'm going to be changing this week, right? Audits, clear. Results, clear, clear, clear. Make that call to results. When I have my intro, it's going to be meet me or intro. I'm going to make sure these aren't cut off, right? When I have start here, I'm literally probably going to put start here on that highlight. I am being clear, clear, clear. This is my objective. Clear, confident, and instilling curiosity. Those are 3 C's. That was totally by accident. Yeah, I love when that happens. Okay. The last part of this is traffic. But first, I need to tell you a little story. This part of the conversation is going to get me emotional because it's so important to me. In January 2019, my husband had a stroke and temporarily lost his short-term memory. For an entire year, I did not have the mental room to create content. However, I had been creating consistent content for a year with tons of tips, tons of tricks, tons of value, that it meant I could take a little breather to take care of my husband, because I had created such an amazing pool of helpful content that when I did the step I'm about to tell you about, it meant I was driving traffic back to a page that still offered clarity around what I did, offered clarity around who I helped, offered confidence around what I can do, and offered value around what I know. So because I built this foundation that I'm talking to you about today, I could take the time to take care of my husband. This is actually the picture of him after he came out of surgery. He didn't have short-term memory for about 3 to 4 months at that time. And we discovered he had a hole in his heart. This was the surgery that meant they closed the hole in his heart. So we were all very happy. This wasn't when he just had a stroke. This was after things were looked like going well. It meant that I could sit by his bedside at that exact hospital and do this engagement work without having to worry about what page people were going back to, because I knew I had built this foundation. That is why this class is so important to me to share with you. The secret to this next part that I'm going to tell you is consistency, having a strong page for prospects to go back to, and making it easy for yourself to do. After you create a solid bio and highlight funnel, you just have to set things up so driving traffic to yourself is easy. And let me be clear here. There are a lot of different ways to drive traffic for yourself, okay? I'm not talking about all of them here. That might be a whole other conversation another time. This is really about taking that first step and making sure it's set up for it to even be possible for you, okay? So this is not necessarily going to be the answer to all of your problems, but it is something you absolutely must do to know how to serve your ideal audience. The best way to do this is by following niche hashtags. And just so that you're clear as well, when you follow a niche hashtag, what basically happens is content that gets posted to that hashtag appears in your main feed. So just like when you follow, let's say you followed me, when I post something, it shows up in your main feed. If you follow a hashtag, when something gets posted to that hashtag, it shows up in your feed as if you're following a person, right? So that means people who don't even know who you exist are coming onto your feed, which means you can start conversations with them, which is how I do all of my engagement work. All right, I'm following very specific niche hashtags. I don't know if you say niche or niche. I kind of go back and forth. Following very specific niche hashtags so that the right people are coming onto my feed, and I'm starting conversations with them, and I'm leading them to my email list. I'm leading them to what the heck to post. I'm providing value, all right? So let's get to that part in a second, but first let's talk about how to follow hashtags. Step one. Oopsies, 1 second. Okay, step one, tap on the magnifying glass at the bottom of your feed. This is your search feed. You're gonna find yourself in your discovery tab. This is what your discovery tab looks like. Step two, click on the search bar at the top. And P.S., you guys are gonna get this. So I'm walking you through it, but if you're like, you're going too fast, do not worry, I'm gonna send these to you. You're gonna have this, okay? You're gonna find yourself in your discovery tab. Step two is to click on the search bar at the top. Step three is to select tags, right? Once you click on that search engine, this is gonna appear to you, this like top part where it says accounts, tags, places, like whatever you're searching, select tags. And step four is to choose a niche hashtag, okay? Keep in mind the hashtag library that I send you every single week, the 29, maybe it's 39 pages now, it grows all the time. Those hashtags, I update that every 3 months to make sure it's up to date. And those hashtags are all niche hashtags. A niche hashtag means millions of people are not posting photos, because what I don't want is for your content to have like, you just to have a random people on your feed, right? I want you to have a very specific client like audience on your feed, right? So this could take some trial and error, right? I pick one that I really like because I target coaches is Life Coaching 101. It only has 20,000 pictures posted to it, which means it's not used every day. It's used very like specifically, right? So for me, that's why I pick that. If you use the library that I give you, select your hashtags from there, pick about 5 and follow like 5 at a time so that random content isn't coming up on your feed. And finally, when you select the hashtag, you're gonna be directed to the hashtag page, right? Click that follow button at the top and voila, now content is gonna be appearing on your page and you can see people who don't even know of your existence, follow them, like their content, build relationships with them. If you feel like you want a more specific process to this, if you feel like you want a more specific process for this, oh man, my Slack channel is going off. I hope that's the last one. If you feel like you want a specific process to this, please DM me at Sophia Para, and I can send you an IGTV video that I did for this, all right? So the idea here is when people come onto your feed, you're starting conversations with them and you're providing value that can drive traffic back to what you provide, whether that be a lead magnet, whether that be an after a couple of conversations, an invitation to speak with you, whatever that might be, right? The idea here is when you're creating conversations and when you're providing value, those opportunities are possible for you. And right now, people are getting stuck around the fact they're like, but I don't see anyone. How do I know who to look for? I don't have time to set time aside, right? So that means if you do this, you can be sitting on your TV, sitting on your TV. I hope you don't sit on your TV. Sitting on your couch, watching television and scrolling through your Instagram, and people that you don't know are just going to be appearing. And you can start conversations so much more easily if you do this. I think this is such an underused resource. I try to message and talk to, because sometimes we get too busy, minimum of 10 new people a day. I noticed that about 4 out of those 10 end up following me. And that's a very high conversion rate for me. That's time well spent, because those 4 people that follow me, I build even deeper relationships with, and they usually become a member of What the Heck to Post, or they reach out to me about something else. You know, they turn into clients to me. So this is a very important step for making sure that you're even having those conversations. All right, we're wrapping up now. I think that we have gone over. Oh no, it's not so bad. Okay, I'm wrapping up now, but I want to walk you through everything that we talked about today. So first of all, an ideal audience is showing up on your feed because you are following hashtags, right? You're making it possible for you to start conversations with people you can help. When they check you out, because you are being consistent with your communication, and because you have a profile picture of your face so that you don't look totally creepy and they're not afraid that they're going to be catfished, when they check you out, they will know right away if they need you, because your I help statement is super clear. They're going to know if you are speaking to them or not. Their interest in you will be piqued because of your curious CTA and confident credibility. They will say, wow, she really knows what she's talking about. Oh my gosh, I have been wanting to know why I can't lose weight for ages. I'm definitely going to have to sign up for this. People will feel confident about taking the next step because of the results you have showcased in your results highlight. Holy crap, look at all of this evidence of what she has provided for people. They'll also feel like your personality vibes with theirs because they've had 1 minute to hang out with you throughout your entire day. And man, she is fun. I think I want this person in my life. I think I could like get a lot of value out of her, and I like her content. She's fun. So this is what we're trying to do. We create traffic. We bring people back to the feed. At the feed, we have a very clear presentation of our value and opportunities for them to learn more in the highlights. We have results, we have an intro, we have a start here button. So they're told, okay, start here, where we're walking through pain points already. You're speaking to my heart, you're not speaking to my head. Oh my gosh, I'm so much more likely to sign up for that lead magnet than I was if I didn't have that start here button. I also see the content that's working well for other people, which means it's likely to work well for this potential client. And finally, value. You're answering the questions I have been asking again and again and again. Thank you so much. So this is the funnel that we want to create, the foundation for people to come back to. It all works together, folks. People often want to skip the foundation because they're like, oh, I don't need that. I just need more followers. Guys, who is going to follow you if they don't know who the heck you are and what you do and why they need you? It's just the way that it is. Who's going to follow you if they don't have evidence of the type of content you provide so they can actually answer the question, do I need this person, right? It all works together. The traffic, the engagement, the communication, the bio, the funnel, the content, how you show up, your consistency, it all works together. So please, I urge you, do not skip this foundational step, even though I know it's not as sexy as a lot of the other things that we could be talking about, like how to get more comments. I know everyone wants to know that, how to get more likes, how to get more followers. Those conversations are important too, but not until the step is done. It's not possible until the step is done. So it all works together, and please take the step seriously. All right, guys, we made it. I didn't do so bad, did I? Okay, so kind of bad, like 15 minutes over, although I've done worse. So I want to open things up to questions.